I wasn't married to a monster. I was married to someone who got sick. That is what Patrick Clancy told The New Yorker about his wife, Lindsay, who is accused of killing their 3 children. In a sit-down interview with the publication, Lindsay Clancy's husband outlines the months and the days leading up to the killings and his current feelings for his wife. Now, Patrick is saying in part about the killings, quote, "There's no house anymore. There are no kids. All that's left is me and Lindsay. If I could go back in time, I'd have called McLean, which is a psychiatric facility, and said, take her away, lock the door, keep her in there for a year if you have to." He goes on to say that Lindsay misses her kids, which I know sounds crazy to some people, but that is the reality. Now, Lindsay Clancy is currently being held in a psychiatric hospital awaiting her murder trial. So we're asking, will Patrick's statements in that article potentially help save his wife's case? Here to discuss, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Franz Borghardt, criminal defense attorney and civil rights attorney Casey Early, and trial attorney, former prosecutor Randolph Rice. Good morning to you all. Randolph, let me begin with you, please. What are your thoughts on whether Patrick Clancy can help affect Lindsay Clancy's case in any way?
Well, I certainly think that he sets the stage for her mental condition prior to the murders. And I certainly think he helps her a little bit. You know, if I'm a defense attorney in this case, I'm thinking about jury selection. And I think that's going to be very important. They're going to want to maybe put some mothers on that jury. Some people, they're going to be sympathetic. But Patrick certainly is going to play a big part in not only the time that led up to the murder, but also what he believes or how he feels, because they may be sympathetic to that. Now, the flip side of that is obviously there's 3 kids dead. So the jury will have to obviously weigh that against the 3 kids being dead.
Right, most certainly, Randolph. I know all of our hearts break thinking about this. So tragic, and certainly a big mental health component. Postpartum depression is what was apparently going on, and it was happening during the 3rd pregnancy. Casey, your thoughts on how the mental health aspects of this case can possibly affect the legal outcome for Lindsay Clancy?
It definitely is important. Good morning, Julie. But I also believe that her mental defect or illness prior to the alleged incident is what's more important, as opposed to her mental illness after, because there's testimony and there's evidence that she was admitted into the hospital, stayed a few days, and then ultimately discharged. And I think that's where that statement comes from, that he wished that she would have stayed longer. But I would actually would love to have mothers who actually is willing to discuss postpartum depression. Oftentimes, no one is willing to talk about it. It's frowned upon because of cases like this. And I think that, you know, it's not unusual for a husband, spouse to forgive a loved one because that's all he has left. This will be a difficult case, but his testimony will definitely be beneficial for the defense.
Casey, thank you for that, in particular for the points on postpartum depression. You're right. It's a topic that's tough to talk about for some reason, and we need to do more of that. So appreciate that. Franz, last but certainly not least, I want to ask you, how do you foresee this case playing out? It's in the court system. We know there's a large mental health component. We know we also have 3 homicides. How do you think the end result may be here?
So one of the things that we're going to see as this develops is we're going to see some dueling expert witnesses. Both sides will have experts that get to mentally evaluate her. And I think it's important to know that in most states, even if you're found not guilty by reason of some kind of insanity, albeit a temporary insanity, it's not necessarily a get out of jail free card. Many states have mechanisms in place to secure mental health treatment and safety to both the accused and to society, if in fact she's acquitted based on that. So it's not a get out of jail free card, so to speak. Now, what it may be is it may be a light at the end of the tunnel if she's acquitted based on a sanity component or issue. You know, does she become stabilized at some point to where she may have a chance at freedom? You know, these are all questions, but I think first and foremost, it's going to be some dueling experts that are testifying as to postpartum, as to what she had, what she didn't have. And I think those are going to all play themselves out both in court pretrial and before a jury.
I think you're exactly right. You all made great points here. We'll continue following this heartbreaking case.